Hey there, welcome to NeoVantage. Today, we're just going to look at one way to make a mold case for a sculpture. So this is Acorn Shambles, and I'm just going to begin by kind of cleaning him up a little bit. Just a little bit. Then I got my mold base here. I'm going to clean up his pour spout and the base itself with a little naphtha. I'm going to score it a little. Then I'm going to grab my super glue, little kicker maybe. I'm going to glue that base down. You can use some baking soda to instantly set it, and it also sort of gives it some structure. It's great for doing sort of more structural things with it, I guess. I'll also assure you that that is baking soda. Any other white powder would frankly be much more expensive. So now that he's oriented like this, I can actually start to clean up some of the gnarly bits inside of his mouth that they weren't comfortable for me to reach while I was sculpting him. I didn't want to disturb things too much. But now that he's sort of constrained like this, it's easier. There's just a lot of little cracks and crevices inside that silicone could leach into, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I guess, but it could lead to some tear out, things like that. Small things that would just be a little annoying to deal with. I'm just going to touch up his eye a little bit too. You know, while I'm in there. And then after that, I'm just going to refine the pour spout a little, make it a little more funnel-like. Makes the actual pouring of the resin easy. Also make sure that whenever you do something like this, you constantly rotate it off frame. That's always the best way to do it. And then moving on to the second piece is the same thing, just cleaning up the inside of the mouth there, where it's a little gnarly. And now we can take him and secure him down to the base. I'm just going to use some melted clay. Nice wide base like that makes it convenient to use something soft to tack it down. Makes it easy to remove later on. And now we've got this big gap between that foam base and the mold base, and so I'm just going to fill that in with some more clay. That second base there is actually going to be a second part to the mold in order to get a nice flat bottom for the model. But you'll see that, well, it's not in this video, but it should be in the next one. Now I'm just going to make some keys to orient it in the mold later on. I'm just cutting sort of a rough trapezoid shape. And then I'm adding 2 more, and I'm gonna make one of the 3 be different than the other, so that when I go to pour set up the mold for pouring, it's very easy to visually see which way the base orients, because it's just going to be a circle with these keys. So if they were all the same, it would be, kind of tricky, and you might actually put it in the wrong spot, which is no bueno. And now we can actually get to the material. So I'm just using cardboard. That's what I mainly use. It's around. I have tons of it. It's recyclable. It's quick. I'm just gonna sort of clean up this piece and then get a rough measurement. I'm only really going to be concerned about the height. And then after I trim that down, I take it over to my bench. Well, I'm on my bench, but I take it on the corner, run it down, and that makes it flexible. You can sort of bend it, and that way you can just conform it around your model in sort of a sphere, ovoid, whatever. And I just find that it's quicker, and it doesn't use as much silicone, because with a box you get corners which tend to be dead. I mean, it depends on your model and what exactly you're doing, but I found that this is kind of quicker and easier, and that way you only get one seam, unless you measure wrong, which I did. So I'm gonna have to patch in a piece, but it's still less seams than a box. And I'm just tacking down the edge with a little bit of hot glue. I just want to get it in place right now. I'm also consciously making the effort to keep it in a poor framing location for the camera. After it's tacked down, I go through and just put on a generous amount of hot glue, basically caulking it, because I don't want anything to leak out, because leaking silicone is a nightmare to try to save, because it just kind of gets over everything, and you can't really, it's like nothing really sticks to it. There are things you can do. Wax is an option if you get a leak, if you have some wax that you can melt really quick and throw it on there, but generally you want to avoid it as much as possible. So I'm just patching in that last piece. And even with this patch, I only have 2 seams. So there's less places for it to go wrong. And I'm just going over all the seams, making sure that it's nice and covered. And that's honestly basically it. You know, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. The next video will be the actual pouring of the silicone, so I'll leave you with this even more sped up time lapse of the second mold case being built. Alright, bye.